You look at so many names, and I'm excited to talk to you about all of them, Gil. But let's just focus in on Apple at the moment and what extent is being priced in the supply chain upending and indeed the tariff impact. Will they get some sort of exclusion, do you think?
It looks less likely now that they'll get an exclusion than last time. I think that commentary is probably correct. The market is doing its best to assess the impact on Apple. Right now it's just doing the rough math. A third of the revenue being impacted, about a third tariffs higher, one times another, the stock is down about 10 to 15%. That's as good as the market can do right now. We're going to have a few days and weeks to refine that math as we see how this plays out. But the structural change to the United States' role in the global economy has already happened now. And every day and week that we proceed in this direction, it's going to be cemented as a different world order. And therefore, we have to get better at doing the math about how that impacts companies like Apple, but also a lot of other technology and other companies.
There are so many headlines coming out minute by minute, Gil, and one of them, we understand President Trump is saying that Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to zero. Now, Vietnam has become a relatively new hub for Apple. How are they able to, in this moment where the news can change from day to day, able to stomach the higher costs? Because they have a healthy margin of about 46 to 49%.
That's right. So Apple has a few levers. One, it can push cost increases to its suppliers. Two, it can pass through price increases to its consumers. And then three, it can absorb some of the margin degradation. So it has all three levers. In the short term, it's going to use all of those. But to your point, in the medium to long term, it has the ability to shift production. It's already started shifting production from China to India and Vietnam, who are far likely to arrive at a beneficial agreement with the United States about tariffs and trade than China is. Yeah. So the fact that Apple's already manufacturing in India and Vietnam gives them medium-term and definitely longer-term flexibility to offset some of the tariff increases and reduce the impact on prices and margins.
Gil, that's the hardware perspective, and I can understand why in Nvidia that you also look at his feeling the pain on a hardware perspective and getting product out of Asia. Meta, under significant pressure. Why? Is that more about the EU response mechanism?
That's part of it. Part of it is that in an economic recession, there's less advertising dollars, which will mean less digital advertising, which is really all of Meta's business. So that's part of the reaction. Part of the reaction is Europeans have a habit of drawing funds out of our large technology companies through non-tariff barriers. So they'll decide that Meta isn't doing a good enough job on privacy, so they'll limit Meta, they'll fine them billions of dollars. They've done the same to Google, they've done the same to Apple. And so the more we get in conflict with Europe, that's a lot of the lever that the Europeans have. Right. It's not just tariffs on goods. It's the Europeans' inclination to put in regulation that restricts these companies and allows the Europeans to fine them billions of dollars.
Talking of levers, President Trump thinks he's got a lever when it comes to TikTok and China tariffs. You cover Oracle. In any capacity, do you want to see Oracle become a minority holder of future shares in a US TikTok, if indeed that deal that seems to be being discussed with the White House goes through?
Somebody's going to get a windfall from this. The TikTok US business is incredibly valuable. And to the extent we can accomplish the national security goal of not allowing our data to be sent to the Communist Party in China, that business is incredibly valuable. And whoever gets to participate in it is going to get a windfall. It looks like Oracle may be in the running to do that, but everybody else is running for that too. It's incredibly valuable because if you think about it, there's only really three venues for social media where you can access consumers: Google's YouTube, Meta's properties, and ByteDance's TikTok. And whoever owns TikTok in the US will have a very valuable asset. And to extent Oracle can expand its business, it already has a TikTok business in hosting. If
Yeah.
it can expand more into an operations role with TikTok, that would be a windfall to Oracle.